Usually, when you look at a manual for a kitchen appliance, you expect, diagrams, maybe some warranty information, stuff like that.
Right, a customer service number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A customer service number. You certainly don't expect a framework for a spiritual awakening. So, let me ask you this. What do a rotating breakfast appliance, Plato's Cave, and a flaming entity named Captain Coconut have in common?
Well, it sounds like the setup to an incredibly surreal joke.
Yeah, it really does.
But it is actually the core blueprint for navigating the human experience, or at least, according to the source material we are examining today.
Right. So welcome to today's Deep Dives. We are looking at a text called The Waffle Republic.
It's a fascinating read.
It really is. It is formatted as this philosophical dialogue between a teacher and a student. And the topic of their intense, universe-bending discussion isn't a holy mountain.
No.
It's not a sacred text. It is literally a flip-side Belgian waffle maker.
Which is exactly what makes this text so effective, I think.
Really?
It takes something you completely ignore, right? Just an ordinary, mass-produced object sitting on your counter. And it forces you to re-examine your everyday reality through its mechanics.
Yeah.
It stretches the mundane until it just completely encompasses the cosmos.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to uncover how a standard kitchen manual is transformed into this profound treatise on the spiritual ascent of the soul.
And, well, the journey begins right where you would expect.
In the kitchen.
Exactly. Looking at the appliance's state of readiness, the setup is crucial here.
Right, so in the text, the student is describing the machine to the teacher.
Yeah, and they describe it having two grids, like the palms of open hands, hinged at the middle.
But the teacher just totally bypasses the physical description, right?
Yeah, completely. The teacher zeroes in on a contradiction in the manufacturer's promise, because the box claims to make, extra thick Belgian waffles in minutes.
Which the teacher flags as an inherent paradox. I love this part.
It's brilliant.
The text actually says, haste and thickness are not friends.
Yes. A truth is not baked quickly, nor is a quick thing usually true.
Right out of the gate, the dialogue is questioning the promises of our modern, hyper-accelerated world. If you want depth, you just cannot demand speed.
No, you can't. And that questioning is what leads the teacher to suggest that this is not an ordinary kitchen tool at all.
It's a device for the philosopher.
Exactly. And to prove it, they look at the very first instruction in the manual.
Which is plug it in, close it, and wait for the signal light to glow.
Right. And this glowing light is where the teacher draws a direct line to ancient philosophy.
Yeah, the student mentions the red glow, and the teacher immediately compares it to the fire in Plato's cave.
For anyone who needs a quick refresher, Plato's cave is that classic allegory where prisoners are chained facing a wall.
Right.
And behind them is a fire. And objects passing in front of the fire cast shadows on the wall.
And the prisoners mistake those shadows for the entirety of reality.
Exactly. So the glowing light of the waffle maker, the teacher argues, is that fire of illusion.
But then the manual does something that seems to completely subvert the Western philosophical tradition.
It really does.
The manual says that when the unit has reached the correct temperature, when it is finally ready, the light will actually go out.
Yes.
And I struggle with this because, in our world, a dark screen means a dead battery.
Right, or a broken bulb.
Yeah, a dark bulb means something is broken. We are so conditioned to want a green light or a chime or just more illumination to mean go. So why on earth would the teacher equate the light going out with being ready?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the teacher is pivoting from Western to Eastern philosophy.
Oh, interesting.
In the West, we have this deeply ingrained metaphor that light equals truth, right? Light equals action.
Cool.
But the teacher points to the Eastern concept of nirvana. And literally translated from Sanskrit, nirvana means a blowing out.
A blowing out, not an ignition.
Exactly.
An extinguishing.
So the glowing red light isn't a sign of mechanical readiness at all. It represents, craving. Yes, it is the fire of impatience. It's the appetite demanding its breakfast right now. As long as that light is on, the machine is straining, It's striving to reach a temperature it just hasn't achieved yet. It is in a state of want.
Oh, I see.
True readiness, what the text calls true philosophical ripeness, only arrives when that small, hungry flame within us finally ceases.
So the darkening of the light isn't a malfunction.
Not at all. It is a profound arrival at stability.
That completely flips the paradigm of how we view progress.
It really does.
We usually think of progress as turning things on, firing things up. But here, progress is settling down.
Right. Desire has ceased, the light is dark, the vessel is ready.
But, I mean, enlightenment isn't just about sitting in the dark forever.
Right.
It requires action.
Yes, eventually you have to make the waffle.
Right, so the text moves from this internal readiness to external action with the pouring of the batter.
And even that physical pouring is highly regulated in the manual.
Yeah, it instructs the user to pour exactly 3/4 to 1 cup of batter.
And crucially, it must be poured directly onto the exact center of the bottom grid.
Because the manual warns that if you pour more than a cup, there will be overflow.
Right. And the teacher turns this practical kitchen advice into a massive lesson on the mechanics of teaching and knowledge.
Yeah, if you think about the batter as knowledge, the metaphor becomes so clear.
It really does. If you pour too much knowledge into a soul that is unprepared, the soul just can't retain it.
It spills over the sides.
Exactly. It scorches on what the text calls the hot iron of the world. And instead of providing nourishment, it just fills the room with smoke.
I mean, we see this all the time.
Oh, everywhere.
Think about when you try to learn a massive new subject all at once, or like someone just info dumps on you at a party.
Yeah, your brain just can't process it.
It short circuits. Or it smokes, to use the text terminology. You end up completely overwhelmed instead of nourished.
That is exactly why the wise teacher behaves exactly like the wise batter pourer. You give just enough.
Just enough.
You aim for the exact center, and then you have to step back and trust the heat to do what the pouring cannot.
Because you can't force the baking process by just adding more batter.
No, you just create a huge mess.
Which leads to a really interesting exchange in the dialogue. Yeah, the student asks, well, what is the center of a soul?
And the teacher refuses to answer.
Right. The teacher notes that the moment you define the center, it ceases to be the center. It just becomes another concept pushed toward the end.
It's a very elusive Zen perspective on the self.
But, okay, so the batter is poured, we are centered. Now, the manual requires a physical motion.
The flip.
Yeah, close the maker, graft the handles, and flip the unit over exactly 180 degrees.
This is the physical crossing of the threshold.
But here's what I want to know. If 180 degrees is the instruction, why not 360 degrees?
Well,
Wouldn't a full circle be like a more complete journey? I mean, if a partial flip spills the contents because it's not sealed, why stop halfway?
because a 360-degree flip returns you exactly to where you started.
Oh.
You'd have learned absolutely nothing from the motion. You were just spinning in place.
Right.
A 180-degree turn is the perfect total inversion. At 180 degrees, the batter that was resting so comfortably on the bottom is suddenly on top.
Up is down.
Exactly. From the perspective of the batter inside that dark sealed machine, the kitchen counter has just become the ceiling of its universe.
It is a moment of just total spatial and conceptual disorientation.
And it is only in that moment of maximum disorientation that the soul becomes capable of departure.
Wow.
We think of the waffle iron's grid as a cage, right? A cage that gives the batter a rigid shape. But the text argues that a grid, properly regarded, is nothing but a net of small doors.
A net of small doors.
Yeah.
That just frames the entire text differently for me.
It's a beautiful image.
The thing pressing down on you isn't trapping you. It's actually offering you multiple exit points. Okay, so we've poured the batter, we've inverted our reality, we've passed through the grid of doors. But, like, how do you know when you've actually traversed this threshold?
You need a signal.
Right, you need a signal that you have arrived.
And the manual provides that signal. It states that the waffle maker will beep exactly 5 times when the set time has expired.
And the teacher is incredibly specific about this number. Because 1 beep, well, that could just be a random mechanical accident.
Sure.
3 beeps, the teacher says, is the number of near hesitation.
But 5 beeps.
5 is the number of fingers on an outstretched hand. It is a proper greeting.
It is not a kitchen alarm demanding your attention. It is a herald announcing an arrival.
And this is the moment the narrative completely shatters its own boundaries.
It really takes a turn here.
A massive turn. The teacher tells the student to hold onto the counter, and the grid of the appliance doesn't open back up to reveal, like, a cooked breakfast on a kitchen table.
No, it does not.
When the maker is opened, it reveals the burning dark between the stars, specifically the Orion Nebula.
The visual language here is just striking. The student looks through the grid and sees these massive clouds of cosmic gas lit from within.
Like a held breath, I think the text says.
Yes. And there, in the center of the Orion Nebula, they encounter someone.
And here's where it gets really interesting. This entity is spectacular. The student sees a figure dancing at the center of the nebula.
Captain Coconut.
Yes, Captain Coconut, the flaming psychonaut.
He is the keeper of the threshold between the domestic batter and the cosmos.
His description is just this wild mix of the profound and the completely absurd. Like he's wreathed entirely in fire.
Yes.
But he is also wearing a small paper umbrella, like the kind you get in a tropical cocktail, straight through one ear.
It's such a bizarre detail.
And he isn't just dancing to a rhythm. He is moving as though his entire body is a single word being spoken over and over again.
And he has apparently been waiting in this nebula since the very first waffle iron was ever forged.
Which is just wild to think about.
The teacher informs the student that they must dance with him. This dance actually is the philosophical examination.
Right.
In fact, at this point in the source text, the physical manuscript itself supposedly grows scorched.
Wait, really? The physical book?
Yeah, the copyists note that the pages here are illegible and actually smell of coconut and ozone.
That meta detail really anchors the stakes of the dialogue. It blurs the line completely between the text you are reading and the physical world you inhabit.
It forces you to be part of the experience.
Exactly. So when the dialogue finally resumes, the student is breathless. Captain Coconut stops dancing and asks this seemingly impossible riddle.
He asks, are you the waffle or are you the iron that shapes it?
And the student, who is obviously completely disoriented at this point, admits they just do not know the answer.
And Captain Coconut laughs so hard that a nearby star actually dims and brightens again.
Mimicking the signal light on the appliance.
Yes, exactly. He tells the student the answer is neither. You are not the raw material, and you are not the rigid structure pressing down on it.
Okay, so you're neither.
Right. And then he challenges the student to ask a better question.
And the student rises to the challenge. They ask, well, what is left of the batter once it is no longer batter, but not yet a waffle?
It's a brilliant question.
It is. What exists in that middle moment while it is baking, while it is neither one thing nor the other?
This is really the core philosophical inquiry of the Waffle Republic. It is an exploration of liminal space.
That uncomfortable transitional middle ground.
Exactly.
And what is Captain Coconut's answer?
He says that middle moment is the only moment that is actually real.
The only moment.
Everything else is either memory or hope.
Wow. That is heavy. I mean, we spend almost all our time trying to escape liminal spaces, you know.
Oh, constantly.
Think about it in human terms. Waiting for test results, being between jobs, navigating a shift in a relationship. We hate the middle.
Can't stand it.
We constantly look back at what we used to be the batter, or we fixate on what we hope to become the finished waffle.
But Captain Coconut is pointing out that reality only exists in the crucible of the present, in the active heat of transformation.
The state of becoming.
Right. The state of becoming is the only true state of being. The past is just a story we tell ourselves, and the future is an expectation. The baking, the tension, the heat, the middle moment, that is where life actually happens.
And to punctuate that massive revelation, Captain Coconut then just casually sets himself entirely on fire.
As one does.
Right. He doesn't panic. He tells the student it's not a metaphor, it's simply Tuesday for him.
It's brilliant.
And then he asks if the student wants to see the timer. It's this incredible collision of high-minded cosmic philosophy and absolute absurdism.
But that absurdism is functional, you see. Encountering a truth like that, delivered by an entity like Captain Coconut, irrevocably changes the student.
Yeah, you don't just walk away from that unchanged.
No, you don't. And the text then shifts from this cosmic encounter back to the physical product. We have to examine what kind of soul actually emerges from this appliance after such an experience.
Because eventually, the cooking time ends. We move into the final phase of the dialogue, where the teacher and student discuss the nature of the finished product.
Right.
And the ultimate description in the manual for a proper waffle is that it should be crispy outside and fluffy inside.
And the teacher maps this manual description perfectly onto the architecture of the human soul.
I love this part.
A soul that has been properly baked by philosophy and experience should be exactly that. Crispy on the surface and fluffy at the core.
It makes total sense. You have to be hardened on the outside. The world is constantly pressing its hot iron against you, and you need a surface that can brown, hold its shape, and withstand that pressure.
You absolutely need boundaries and resilience to function in reality.
But internally, at the very center, where no grid is ever reached.
You must remain soft, yielding,
Yeah.
full of air and warmth.
Yeah.
Because if you let the hardness of the world penetrate all the way to your core, you become brittle and inedible. You must remain unclenched at the center.
Unclenched at the center. That phrase just captures it perfectly. And the teacher reveals that the student, having absorbed this, is no longer just a pupil sitting by a kitchen counter.
No.
The student has become a burning waffle cone.
And the spelling of that term in the text is very deliberate, and it carries the weight of the entire journey.
Right, so let me break this down for you guys listening. It's spelled C-O-A-N.
Yes.
The teacher explains that it folds two completely different concepts into a single word. First, a cone with a C, like an ice cream cone.
A vessel.
Exactly, a vessel designed to hold sweetness while eventually being consumed itself. And second, a koan with a K.
Right, like a Zen koan.
Exactly.
A Zen koan is a riddle or a statement that cannot be solved by rational thinking or logic. You know, what is the sound of one hand clapping is the classic example.
Right, you can't logic your way out of it.
No, a koan is something you can only understand by living through it, by being flipped and baked and disoriented until your perspective shatters and opens up to the stars.
And the student realizes that the goal of this spiritual journey isn't to solve a math problem.
Not at all.
The riddle is something you are. You are the living contradiction of crisp edges and an unclenched center. But, I mean, as with all things in the physical world, the fire eventually has to burn down.
Right, you can't sustain that level of cosmic intensity forever.
They burn out. So the student asks what happens when the flaming Captain Coconut part of the experience subsides.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this brings us to the integration of profound spiritual experiences back into daily life.
You have to come down from the mountain.
Oh.
Or the nebula, in this case.
Exactly. You cannot stay in the Orion Nebula forever.
Yeah.
You have to return and you have to cool down. And the manual provides literal instructions for this recovery phase.
You unplug the machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wipe the grids with a damp cloth, and the teacher offers this incredibly poignant piece of advice.
Yeah.
You never use steel wool on a soul.
That is just, wow.
Yeah.
Never use steel wool on a soul.
It is a profound lesson in self-compassion. The teacher acknowledges that life leaves residue. We all get a little burnt.
Yeah, we do.
But no matter how baked on the trouble seems, no matter what mistakes you are carrying, you do not use harsh abrasives on your own soul.
You don't submerge the entire unit in water, risking total destruction.
No. You use a little oil, a little patience, and eventually the trouble lifts free.
It is a slow, gentle approach to emotional recovery. And following that, the physical storage of the waffle maker becomes a metaphor for the storage of the soul.
Yes, you fold the unit upward at the hinge. You become vertical, compact.
You drop the two red locking levers into their grooves, not because your journey is over, but because you are built to be used again tomorrow.
You have to rest.
You have to rest. But there is one final mechanical detail the teacher points out before the dialogue concludes, right?
Yes. The appliance contains a small lithium battery that keeps the internal timer running, a part that, according to the manual, seldom needs replacing.
The battery. The teacher argues that this battery represents the part of you that isn't made of batter and isn't made of stars.
It is the part of your consciousness that just keeps time in the dark, whether you are actively cooking or resting.
It's your quiet, underlying awareness.
Yes. And the manual specifies exactly how to replace this battery. It must be inserted with the writing facing up.
Right.
The teacher interprets this mechanical instruction as a final moral imperative. Even when you are folded up in storage, even in the dark, recessed compartments where no one else will ever look, you must face the truth outward.
Integrity in the dark. Doing the right thing when there is absolutely no audience to witness it.
Exactly.
So after all of this, after extinguishing the light of craving, pouring the batter, surviving the 180-degree flip, meeting Captain Coconut in the nebula, embracing the koan and storing the battery.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. The student suddenly blinks and realizes they're just sitting back at the kitchen counter. The manual is just lying there, open to the recipe page.
Everything looks exactly the same as it did before they started reading.
But fundamentally, everything has changed. The student looks at the appliance and says, I do not think I will ever pour batter the same way again.
It's a beautiful realization.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? The teacher says that this specific realization is the only proof of a journey that actually matters.
Right. It's not about having some wild hallucination about a nebula.
Or proving you met a flaming entity with an umbrella in his ear.
No.
The proof of enlightenment is that a cheap domestic thing, A physical object with a power cord and a weekday customer service number has forever become a door to profound thought.
The magic isn't out there in the distant stars. It is right in front of you, hidden in the utterly mundane.
Which brings us to the manual's very final instruction, which the teacher reads aloud as the dialogue wraps up.
Preheat 3 to 5 minutes.
Preheat 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, it seems like such a mundane technical spec to end on.
It does, but the teacher notes that 3 to 5 minutes is exactly how long it takes to remember everything they just discussed. And it's exactly long enough to forget it was ever strange in the first place.
Wow.
Human beings acclimate to profound truths very quickly. The cosmic revelation simply becomes the background hum of our kitchen again. We lose the awe.
It's a sobering, but honestly perfect ending. It leaves you wondering about your own kitchen, your own office, your own daily routines.
What else are you missing?
Exactly. What other mundane objects in your life are actually disguised tools for a philosopher? Maybe your coffee grinder is a daily treatise on breaking down the ego to extract the essence.
Or maybe your toaster is a lesson in the sudden, unpredictable nature of impermanence?
Right. You just have to be willing to look at these objects differently, to read the boring instructions a little more closely, and to wait, patiently for the glowing red light of your own impatience to finally go out.
The ducks on the dash are in love with you. The ducks on the dash. The ducks on the ducks. The ducks on the dash. Give you a bite of the rash. The ducks on the dash. The ducks on the dash. The ducks are in passion. Love you.